Alright, so last we got together, there's been a few changes. We got a crop farm up here now, thanks to Osbert that got online and helped out with some chores here. So, and up here, I cut down a few birch trees, like most of them. At least all the ones that were really nearby. And we captured our zombie that we're going to use for curing. So this will be our HR representative once we get everything all set up. So make sure that our traders are having the appropriate levels of customer relations. And we're gonna have to come up with a name for this guy, but for right now, he's just in here holding onto a birch sapling, so just doing his thing. And just as a reminder, over here is where our villagers are. See, they're still in here. Hey guys. And over here is some beef. I have a bed, right? No, I don't. I should get a pocket bed. I should grab a pocket bed. Actually, I can make a pocket bed when I get out there. What am I doing? I just picked up a wool. All I need to do is find 2 more rogue sheep, or 1 or 2 more rogue sheep. Like this guy, for example. Hi there. Just need 1 more sheep and some wood. And there's plenty of birch wood around. I don't have a new pocket bed. Over here, you can see we got a structure started. And this is going to be our villager breeder. So in here, on the upper floor, here's where we're going to keep our villagers. Got the space on this side for our happy couple to be. And then over here we got space with beds for the kids to run to. Actually, I might move this. Let's rearrange these to get a little bit better floor space. There we go. The kids they'll do the delicate dance of seduction over here. As you can see, the beds are very comfortable. And the children, when they happen, will run across here because we have 2 trapdoors here on either side, and mobs see the open trapdoors as being full blocks, and so they will dash to try to get over to those beds to jump on them. I mean, they may jump around a little bit here, but eventually they're going to want to run over there and jump on the beds. So that's just how Minecraft children work. And then when they do that, they will fall down here, and the water that's in here will push them into this corner. And once I get out of here, and then we will have a minecart that comes in here, runs along here, and then scoots into this corner, and because when a minecart turns a corner, its hitbox crosses those 2 blocks, and it will scoop the villager out through the block. So they will go from being trapped in this little corner of water to being in the minecart. and then we can send them on their way. That's the plan. You have a trident, and I want it, precious. Yes. You are just another friendly drowned. Hello, sheep. There we go. There's my third wool. And then my plan, let me make a new bed here, just so that I have a pocket bed. And so my plan for this build then is to put an inn here that is kind of on the outskirts of town, of the city, Trader's Gate. And this is the inn that like a lot of adventurers will stay at. So it's going to be a very big place. And this structure here is going to be kind of buried in the middle. So I built this thing here, so it's going to be, I'm going to put campfires down here. This is going to be a big hearth. And there's going to be another one on this side, if you look over here. And then on top is going to be a big pair of stone chimneys. Up here is going to be a big pair of stone chimneys that go up and around. And then I'm going to wrap the building around it, the inn around it. So from the outside, you won't even necessarily know that there's something in here, that this villager breeder is even in here. And on the inside, somebody that, if I build it right, somebody on the inside might walk around and go, it seems like there's a lot of space in here there might be some space in here that's not being used or something like that. But it's going to be one of those, that's the idea, is that the villager breeder is actually going to be hidden inside. And I would like to figure out a way to do a little redstone magic to have a secret door. To come in and out, either with a skulk sensor or, with a button, like maybe hide a button here inside the fireplace where you hit the button there and then the door opens up. But I may not, one, have enough room inside here to do that, and two, I might not be smart enough to do that. So we'll see. But yeah, and so this is going to be one of our first builds. And this, right now, what you got here does a little bit highlight a way that I do my building, which is that first I get the thing built, and then I texture it. So like, I laid all this out with stone brick, and I've got this polished deep slate along the sides for bracing. So it looks like it's like a reinforced stone thing going on, which I like the look of. And we're going to try building in depth as well, to the extent possible. So like, this isn't going to be an exterior wall. So like, there's going to be another room. Well, each room, the rooms are going to have their own like floors and ceilings and stuff. So rather than just this block being both the outside of the building and the inside of the building, right? If this was the outside of the building and this was as big as it was going to be, I would want to clad this in something so that you have an exterior surface and an interior surface, like you do in most more modern structures, where the out and even like, with a real structure, right? I would have the ability to like paint this interior surface or cover it with paneling or something, right? I wouldn't be stuck with just having the same brick look on the outside as on the inside. But in Minecraft, since the blocks are a meter thick and we don't have vertical slabs, you have to either accept that your builds are 1 block thick, and your walls are the walls are the same on the inside and the outside, and the floor of the floor of the room below is the ceiling of the room above, which is not the way real floors and ceilings work, right? Or you have to build in depth, which says you're going to make that wall thicker. You're going to make the floor deeper. Now this back here, this room, this piece of the structure is purely Minecraft utility. Like, it's not actually part of the narrative of the world that this is here. That this villager breeder, this little prison for villagers to make more villagers, is here. That's not part of the story. This is just Minecraft mechanics that I'm looking to that I want to take advantage of, and I need to leverage, and so I need a place to put it to hide it, which is kind of how I'm going to do all of this. That iron farm over there, the iron farm part is the Minecraft kind of necessity, and so I'm going to build a building around that hides the iron farm. Visibly hides the iron farm. It's not going to hide the sounds of the iron of the golems, getting killed. But it will hide the. That is light gray wool. That is not what I want. Oh nope! I don't want to throw that away. Come back here. All right. You lightweight gray wool can go be in a very, very that very special place over there. So yeah, and so my plan then is to build a building around this. Once I get, but this is going to be a chimney, so we're going to get started on that. And what I mean by build it and then texture it is that my intention is not for this wall to be just solid stone brick. My intention is for this wall to be a mixture of stone brick, cracked stone brick, maybe mossy stone brick, maybe some cobble, maybe a little tuff. Just to do the texturing like we do in modern Minecraft build. Because this build right here, the way it looks right now, is very like 2012, right? But we can do more modern building techniques by texturing the walls and not having this kind of uniform slab. Hey Snake, how's it going? Nice to have you. Nice to have you join us. Anyway, train of thought derailed. Sorry about that. So now the goal is to get this thing built. We're going to turn it into a chimney. I'm going to use stairs to build like a double stack chimney left and right up here. And then once I get the build built, then I'll do another pass and texture it. I find that in a lot of cases that getting builds done, like we as builders sometimes let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And we don't. You get some analysis paralysis that way. And so, is it more work to? Oh, hang on a second. So, a little pipe smoking thing here. This is a military bit pipe, which means that it comes apart pretty easily, and the two ends are metal, so it doesn't get distorted. Hello, bacon. But it does. But you saw what just happened there, where I didn't have it pressed in well, and so therefore the bowl fell out. And yeah, there we go. So yeah, so I'm going to get the structure built, and then we'll do another text, and then we'll do a texturing pass, and then we'll do detailing passes and all that. And it's just going to come together over time. Is it more labor intensive than a perfectly efficient process of knowing exactly what your build is going to look like from the ground up and just building it that way? Yes, but if you're building in straight survival the way that I'm doing here, you're probably not going to have a perfect picture of what that build is going to look like until you build it. And so it's can be, for me, it's really disorienting to try to do texturing while I'm building. Um, I tend to accidentally introduce patterns in the texturing that you don't want. So you don't want, like, if you're using three different blocks for texture, you don't want it to be a visible pattern that I go stone, cracked, mossy, cobble, stone, cracked, mossy, cobble. You don't want it to be a pattern. You want it to be not any particular pattern, or like you want the moss to like trail in a visible track where it's like kind of going down, running down the side of the building, right? And the only way that the easiest way that I found to do that is to just build the wall, build the structure, and then go back and texture it. So it does mean that when I'm building, I do tend to, build and rebuild and rebuild. I don't tear it down completely on texturing passes. I'll poke holes and replace blocks, do a lot of block replacement. But I find that getting the structure put up is the biggest barrier to getting it done. So let us get into that. I think I need another chest here. There we go. And let's do some stairs. And get up here and get to it. And again, it's more important to get blocks down than it is to get them perfect, especially on these first passes. So I'm not going to worry too much. I have an idea of what I want to do for the shape. But like, for example, on these corners, do I want to go back to stone brick here, or do I want like to do some deep slate, or do I want to do something else to bridge these corners? Maybe this stone brick stair isn't even the right block. Maybe I want to use a different block. But I want to get the shape up. And then, oh, by the way, get used to that. That's going to happen a lot. I fall off of things a lot. I fall off of things a lot. And then, yep, that's what I was afraid of. I'm going to need more stairs. Alright, so we're going to run back to the house real quick. Or back to our hole. Because I want to use this stone brick for this. And I don't have enough of it right now because I used a lot of it in the original build. So we're going to have to go get some more. And you, sir, goodbye. Alright, let's go back. Get some more of that. Like, I have a bunch of stone cooking in the furnaces to turn into more stone bricks. And we're eventually going to set up a super smelter and all that stuff. And we're going to move all of the stuff that we've got that's down in the hole, down by the end portal, up into this building, which is going to be the administrator's palace. We're going to have wings of this building in various directions that are going to have a lot of different farms and things like that. Just for now, and our storage system is going to be in there. But for now, we're down here. Like I said, we got the stone cooking, so we're just going to give it a minute to do what it's going to do. And I'll put some stuff away. In the meantime, oh, well, Bob drops. Let's get a little music going while we're doing this. Alright, we have another trident. So now we have enough tridents to do a trident killer. That's good. Once I get the chimney of that built, I'm not going to do the rest of the build right away because I really want to get villager breeding going. So I'm going to get the chimney built the way I want it to look, and that also has the benefit of putting a roof on the thing. And then I'll be able to position the last of the blocks on top of the enclosure. Put in how I'm going to funnel the food down to them. Get the villagers in there and get them going. So we're not going to get that whole inn built today, but we are going to get those chimneys built, and we're going to get those chimneys built, and we're going to get the villagers put in, ideally, and hopefully get them breeding. I gotta expand this lava farm. This is inadequate. Use some charcoal in this one for now. Okay. Once we get the stone cooked, then I'll get back over to the build site and we'll get going. But I want to grab this stuff up and bring it with. We may not need it all, but I'd rather have it. I can take this. We'll see. Maybe I won't need it. We'll let that like that go and do that. All right, I got 4 stacks here. Let's do that. What time is it? It's nighttime. Slept. All right, off we go. Check in. Oh, this guy's back. I should probably pick that zombie meat up. Just have a never-ending cycle of these guys picking that zombie meat up and just sticking around. Alright, so we saw that one stack basically went around the building. So I'm going to need a bunch of these. Let's do 2 stacks, 2 more stacks for now and see where things stand. Again, I'm not entirely certain I'm going to stick with stone brick all the way around. Oh, I need some other blocks. My OCD does not want to let me start with a full stack when I've got a partial in my hand. And here's something for people that don't do much building or haven't done much building. There's actually a command that is not keybound to start that you can keybound. Hi, hey Dinglehopper, how's it going? You can it's called pick block, and so for me I've got it bound to my middle mouse wheel. So what that means is that I can look at a block and click my middle mouse wheel, and if I have it in my inventory, it'll put it on my hotbar in the slot that I have picked here. And if I already have it on my hotbar, it'll just move me to that hotbar spot. It's one of those things that isn't in your default keybinds. It's listed on the keybinds, but it's not one of the default keybinds. I wish it was, because I found out about it and it was a game changer when it came to building, because it means you don't have to go into your inventory as much. Of course, if you're me, you still have to fall off of things as much as possible. You know what? You had weird sound settings. How's it sounding? Are we good otherwise? Yeah, see, pick block. And so you can set this. Oh, okay, it was on your end. Good. And so by setting, this is not a by default set button. You have to assign it. It's not assigned to anything by default. It's an existing command, but it's not assigned to anything. And I want sprint to be control Well, I want toggle sprint. Can I get toggle sprint? Yeah, they're not here. I have a feeling that that snake attack was somebody that just parachuted in, and hopefully they're a real person, but I think they just parachuted in, gave this, dropped their thing, and then left. Um, uh, they're not in the chat right now, or they don't seem to be. I don't see them in the chat on the user list. Um, and I responded immediately when their chat showed up, so I have a feeling that that person didn't stick around. Yeah, that's what it is. Yep. So what I'm looking for right now is I want to toggle crouch. Maybe it's an accessibility setting. No, that's the wrong thing. I don't. Full keyboard is no mouse, so we're not doing that. Oh. Walk back, walk forward, emote, screenshot. Mm. General? Nope. That's annoying. What I wanted to do was set toggle crouch, and I don't normally play on mouse and keyboard. I assumed that there was a way to do that. I think drops are enabled. Yeah, drops are enabled, but I don't know. I don't know if there's. Let me look and see if there's any. Oh, hang on. Thunderbolts and lightning, very very frightening me. Um, yeah, I do have game drops enabled, but usually game drops are for the game that you're playing. Um, and I don't think there's any Minecraft drops right now. No, there won't be. The the next time there's going to be Minecraft drops is probably when the next when the next update when the next I'm going to use the word drop a lot when the next game drop comes down, the Copper Age. When that happens, I'm assuming that Mojang will do a game drop for when that happens. In that place, people that come and watch the stream will be able to get drops. I'll have drops. I have drops enabled, um, so they'll be able to watch for a while, and they will get in-game rewards that Mojang has set up uh, for watching that game specifically. And they're usually cosmetic items and stuff like that. Like more very common is things like capes for Minecraft and stuff like that. They haven't announced a drop date for it yet. They announced the name of it, and they said it's going to come soon. But the speculation in the community. Hey, Overspanner, what's going on? The speculation in the community is that it will be dropping. Copper Age will be dropping sometime before the end of the month. Um, the general thought is somewhere on or around the 18th of September, but that's going to depend kind of heavily on what big bugs they find that they have to deal with. We haven't seen any release candidates yet, so they're not quite ready to get that far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I do 1, 2, 3. So, but anyway, especially since they're gonna do another Minecraft Live, quote unquote live, not live event, because they've been having these virtual events that aren't, they call them Minecraft Live, but they're not actually live. They used to be live. They that are in the fall, the fall and the spring. Um, hmm. So anyway, the speculation is that this drop is going to happen in time for Minecraft Live, which theoretically will be mid to end of September, and then so that's the copper golem and copper tools, and I messed this up. Okay, let's try this again. I thought that looked weird. And that's the other thing. You have to get used to just you're gonna screw stuff up. Did I not count right? I could not have done that on purpose if I tried. I fell through the door, through the hole, down the chute, into the water channel. Oh my. Alright. Again, this is the kind of stuff you're gonna see, me falling off of things. I build tall things and then fall off of them. It's kind of my idiom. What's going on, Scanner? This is my villager breeder prison. On most games, farms are farms. In Minecraft, farms are war crimes. How am I going to get this to do what I want it to do? Maybe I've come in one too far. This is the problem with not doing stuff in creative beforehand. I end up building stuff, tearing it down, building it again. So what I'm trying to do here, this is going to be basically a hidden room at the center of this inn. I'm going to build an inn around this thing, because the villager breeder is just a Minecraft thing and so I just want to have the villager breeder, but I don't want it to just be like, well, there's my villager breeder, and I also don't want to put it in like random townhouse number 2. So we're going to put it in a relatively important building, and so this is the inn that's just on the edge of town that like a lot of adventurers would visit in, and I'm hiding it inside a structure that's going to be inside the tavern, and like there's going to be a big fireplace here and like a common room out on this side, and then like passageways with maybe some other rooms over here. Maybe I'll put another fireplace here, and then there's another fireplace here with another common area over here. and then just build the inn out. And the tavern's going to be quite large. It's going to have at least 2 stories. The second story is going to be where all the sleeping rooms are. So think like the Prancing Pony on the scale. It's going to be, at least 2 stories tall, maybe 3 stories tall. And it's going to stick out, I can envision it taking up most of this patch of land right here. So that, like I'll pave over this little bit of water here, and maybe some of this water here, but not all of it. I'd like to leave some of this pond here. And we'll terraform a little bit up around the edges here. In general, I like to, one of the things I like to try to do is to build with the terrain as opposed to like paving it flat and then building up. I think you get more lived in worlds because like most, it's a modern conceit that a town is flat and then like gridded out. More often, especially like if you go to Europe or older towns, even older towns in the United States, they just deal with the terrain, right? And so roads go up and down, and buildings are up on up the sides of hills and things. And so you're just kind of accommodating it. And then the parts of the terrain that I'm going to, and I do see your question, Dinglehopper. I'm just going to finish this thought. The parts of the terrain that I'm going to edit out are things that either would have gotten filled in by people doing the building there, or else they wouldn't have built there, or jank, like just terrain that's just janky Minecraft world gen, and you're like, wow, that's just rugged. Like if you have like block error to chunk errors and stuff like that, that stuff's probably gonna get edited. Like that right there, this little seam right here, this chunk right here, that I might taper down, or at least put stone in the sides, because like a real hill wouldn't have just a big mound of dirt. Um, will there be hobbit-sized rooms? Is a valid question, because this is a D&D. One, I mentioned the Prancing Pony, so sure. But two, it's also this is a this was a D&D setting originally, and in my setting though, halflings weren't a species that were commonly known. So never mind the fact that dealing with building rooms that are going to be much smaller might be a little bit of a challenge. One of the things that you have to take into consideration when you're doing building is what scale you're going to build at, right? And the common instinct to build is going to be to build at player scale. And there's advantages and disadvantages to building at player scale. And I'm waiting for the sun to go down. Sun, go down. Go more down. Down like that. There we go. The advantage of building at player scale is that it's very natural. It's very easy. Like there's not a lot of like challenging, thinking to have to worry about. Your rooms are going to be somewhere between 3 and 4 blocks tall. For most people are not comfortable with 2 block high rooms. I know I'm not. I like at least 3 blocks for my rooms. I don't like the feeling that I'm rubbing my forehead on the ceiling. The problem with building at player scale is that it doesn't give you a lot of opportunity for putting in detail, because 1 block is 1 meter. So like you are 2 blocks tall. That is 1 square meter of dirt. That is 1 square meter of dirt. So you're dealing with a very pixelated scale at the very pixelated view at that scale, which can make it difficult to get a lot of detail in. So you get a lot of very simplistic buildings that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so a common thing to do is to build at larger than player scale. Is to build it larger than player scale, and then you can get more detail because you've got more room to work. It's a less pixelated image. Um, I Again, this is what we're here for. Me falling off of things. Hmm. Because what I'm envisioning for this, the reason why I'm fussing with this roof is because what I'm envisioning is like two chimneys here. And what I want to do is I want to put campfires in the middle so that there's smoke. But campfire is a whole block. This is now 6 wide. This might not be doable at the scale that I'm doing it at. Because I really need to get down to 9. I need it to be a 9 around, or 1. I mean, eventually I'll do 1, get it down to 1 block, and then wrap it with trapdoors. Alright, well, let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good here. Let's get something built and then we'll look at it. I may have to fuss with the blocks a little bit, but and that will reduce the amount of falling in I do. Won't eliminate it, but it'll reduce it. Alright, let's dump all this crap in here for now. Make some more bricks. Welcome back. Up, up. Alright, so what I want to do is something like this. Not that. This is why it takes me forever to build things. I spend half my time falling off of the building. Here, we'll fill this in for now, to reduce the opportunities of falling off of stuff. So that's going to be a follow-up, a follow-up moment later on, I presume. All right, that's more than I want. And that's, well, we could do 2 wide. We could do 2 campfires in there. Hey, guess who still fell in the hole? I just found a different spot to fall in the hole. I'm using scaffolding. And then up from there. Oh, we're gonna have to fix that later. That's a problem. That's tomorrow's problem. That's not my problem right now. I want to get the basic shape of these chimneys in, see if this is even viable. Because I will go to a single larger chimney, but I think 2 chimneys is going to look good. Scaffolding. See? I came down here to get more bricks. And the reason why I'm using stone bricks for this is because I think that most of this build is going to be stone brick. That's just kind of like where my headspace is for it. It's going to be variations on stone brick. And so that's why I'm principally using stone brick here. When I'm just planning out spacing normally, like I would be using smooth stone, because then it gives me very clear counting blocks that I can use, because they have nice clean edges, and I can stand there and just go 1, 2, 3, 4 and see how many I've got. It is not nighttime yet. It just feels like it should be nighttime. It's that stage of day. Alright, how does that look? Does it need to be taller? I have a feeling it needs to be taller. Let me get this scaffolding out of here. Hello, sheep. Alright. Oh, yeah, I was going to look at that. Alright, let's look at this. Get over here.
Alright, so looking at this right now, understanding that this is... Oh, of course it's raining. Um, looking at this right now, through the rain, um, understanding that a lot of this building is going to be covered up by the inn itself. I think maybe these chimneys need to be a little taller. I'm going to go one more block up. And if this slope right here, if this slope ends up being part of the roof, I'm not certain it's going to be part of the roof. I think it might be covered by the building when we're done. But if it ends up being part of the roof, then I'll change those stone brick blocks out for whatever I make the roof to be out of. Probably deep slate tile, because right now this just looks like a big concrete blob. And we're gonna fix that, but it's more important to get the structure built, and then look at the shape. I'm gonna look at shape first, then I'm gonna look at color and texture. And that's how I have found to do this when I'm building in survival. Building in creative, you can do a lot more, fuss with it, tear it down, build it up, fuss with it, tear it down, build it up. Right, yeah, exactly. That's exactly my thought. This is going to be like that big central heating structure that's like the main support of like a classic medieval building. The chimney was often this huge, basically slab, pile of earth or clay or bricks that the rest of the building was built around, and it's the big structural thing that holds it all together. Um, but it's entirely possible that that roof may peek out of the top a little bit, and in which case, if it does, we'll change the blocks. Now the question is whether we want this to go up 2 blocks or we want it to go up 3. We don't want it to go too tall because we don't want it to be a little ridiculous. And chimneys on medieval style structures are actually shorter than they are on modern structures. Um, so there's that too. I think 3 is probably going to be close to right. Yeah, see, that looks a lot better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some campfires in there. And then probably I might taper it off with either stairs. The left side or the right side. This is this building is wider on one side than it is on the other. So like this is the flat face, the longer face. This building. This is the longer side. Now it's not a lot longer than it is wide. It's only like a block or so, So it's not quite square. It's a little bit rectangular. So now I got a couple of options for what to do from here up here. And again, this would probably be, I might do a different color of brick here, just because the big blob of gray is all going to blend in. As you can do a lip like this all the way around. The lip around the top of a chimney like this is actually a good opportunity for a contrasting color. I like copper, oxidized copper a lot for things like this. But again, we're just trying to get the structure in. We'll worry about color and texture in a minute. There, so see what that does by adding that little bit of tapering to the top? And it is actually one block taller now. So it's actually, you can actually see with the scaffolding there, you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Those chimneys are actually 5 blocks tall. Hello, cow. Hello, chicken. So yeah, I think that looks decent for our shape. Again, we're just working on shape. We're just figuring out shape. Color and texture are 2 different steps, and we're going to do that in a minute. So another way to do a chimney like this, instead of doing this kind of tapered top, is we could have a top that sticks out proud a little bit. We could use trapdoors to do that. How about I get some trapdoors and I'll show you the difference. So I kind of like this stair thing all the way around. That's probably what we're going to end up going with. But let me get the other way that I do often do chimneys. Now we want them to be the same height. So we're going to put another layer here. And then I'm going to go get some trapdoors. And actually, we've got a ton of birchwood here, so we'll use birch trapdoors. Because again, we're just doing this for demonstration purposes. I don't think that I'm actually going to use trapdoors here. Trapdoors are oftentimes more suitable for smaller chimneys. Trapdoors are usually, so like if you've got a 1 block, so like sometimes on a smaller building, you'll have a chimney that's literally just a stack of blocks 1 high, or 1 wide. I'm not fitting a campfire in it like this. I'm really putting a campfire on top of it to make the smoke. And then I put trapdoors around the campfire. Oh, nope, that one's in the wrong spot. Nope. 4, 5, 6, 7. I need more trapdoors. I should have just made the 20. Alright, let's get back up here. Resume project, try not to fall off of things. Emphasis is on try. Yeah, well, I mean, goal setting. Alright, so there's our other style of chimney, which I don't necessarily think is appropriate for this particular building because the chimney is very big, or is very wide, but I want to kind of showcase the two. And we can see them side by side. Oh, let me get those scaffolding out of the way.
Oh, hey, it must be nighttime. Hey, buddy. I know it's nighttime because the drown that was standing there watching me build
Came out of the water to attack me. During the day, drown don't attack you unless you go in the water. Hello, Mr. Creeper. No, really, I insist. Skeleton. Hello, friend. There's the arrow. Where is the man? Aha! Hello, friend. He was going to shoot me in the butt later. Pumpkin. Alright. Now, so you can see there the difference in the two styles, right? The one on the left tapers in a little bit, and the one on the right stands proud a little bit. Let me get out my handy dandy thing. I have a handy dandy thing. So you can see how that one, like, it stands proud a little bit, not quite a full block, so it's like a lip on the outside. That's more of a modern look for a chimney. This is an older look for a chimney. The chimneys tend to be shorter and tend to be like this. It's also a good way to hide a one block of a chimney that's only a single stack of blocks. So like one block stacked up, like one block column stacked up, and then you put a campfire on top of it and wrap it around with trapdoors, and then you get a nice little chimney. But with a larger building, I think that style of chimney works better. Yeah. And that's part of the thing to remember for builds like this is you want to keep in mind what is the distance that you're intending this thing to be looked at from. You know, um, sometimes it's easy to get kind of caught up in what things look like when you're really close to it. But if it's a build that's not meant to be looked at from that distance, then if you put in a bunch of detail that's made for being really up on top of it, and nobody's ever going to be up on top of it, then that's wasted detail. So like nobody's ever going to be up there. Like nobody's going to stand up there. You're only going to ever see these chimneys from, over there or over there, or off that way. Some way in the distance is when you're going to see it. And you're not going to be nobody is ever going to crawl up here and, go, I wonder what this looks like when I'm standing on top of it. That's not how this build is going to go. And so you want to build with that in mind. And if you take that into account, then you'll put the appropriate level of detail in on your build. Just try to keep in mind how is this intended to be seen? Where is somebody going to be when they're looking at this? And if you're playing on a multiplayer server, where like for example, there's a couple of big SMPs out there, right? Misadventures is a big SMP, and they don't have elytra. Everybody has to move around using mounts. And so that means that people are seeing things from the ground. They're seeing things from the road. And so that's one perspective. That's the perspective that builders on that server need to take into account. Is that everything needs to look good when seen from the ground, because that's where people are going to be. On a more mature, by more mature I mean end game server, your player base is all going to have elytras, and because that's the most common form of travel. People usually fly around on elytra, which means that things need to be look good from up in the sky. You'll want it to look good from the ground because that's, player perspective per se. But ideally, you'll also want it to look good when flying around it and be visually interesting from up in the air. Will the space between the two chimneys become a monster closet? That's a valid question. Maybe. These are definitely spawnable blocks. So there are some things that I can do to address that. When I get more solid on what the build is going to look like. Let me fix this before I forget. There. So I can do some things in this space right here to keep it from being a monster closet. Obviously, one way to do it would be to light it up, but then it would look weird, right? Because you wouldn't have light in between your chimneys unless something terrible has happened with your chimney where you've got a big crack in it, and so firelight sticking out the side. Something I could do is I could put down trapdoors. So I could take these, for example, I could take these trapdoors and do this, and then that's now not spawnable. And given that this isn't even going to be visible from here, that might not be a bad option because I have the trapdoors and they're here. And they're low profile. You won't be able to see that from the ground. Something else I could do is I could put down buttons on these blocks. And so that would make them not spawnable anymore either. So, but yeah, you're right. Taking into account monster spawning is something that I need to do, but it's going to be that's going to be a later me problem, not a now me problem. Because again, I'm not certain how much of that is going to get covered up.